Hey everybody, OGP back with you. And today we are continuing our Forza 7 1990s Sportscar Icon series with a B600 tune of this beauty, the Honda Prelude. It's a 1994 Honda Prelude, and this car is one of my favorites to look at. Was always a favorite of mine, has been a favorite of mine for years. I don't know, I've always loved this car. Not the best on the track in this current setup, but it looks cool and it's fun. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the build. So what you want to do is you're going to get yourself to buy a car. And you're going to go to Honda, which is in the H's. You're going to go down to the 1994 Honda Prelude SI. You're going to go ahead and buy that. It's 25,000 credits. Starts out at an E-Class 295. Once you buy that, you're going to put a cool design and paint on it. Then you're going to go to tuning and upgrades and go to the upgrade shop. For this particular build, let's start all the way to the far right, and under conversion we have put on a positive displacement supercharger. And the reason we did that is because it was a little bit easier to control than the single turbo. Just had a flatter line of torque increase and power increase, as opposed to the steeper increase that the turbo gives you. So positive displacement supercharger, go ahead and put that on. Going to aero, we have the front bumper is race. We have the rear wing as the race rear wing. For the tires and rims, of course, we went with race tire compound because, after all, we're racing the car. For the width, front we went with the max width, and for the rear we went with the max width. For the rim style, I cannot. Oh, there it is. These are the ZR Plus 520s, and it's the third one from the left in the first category here of tire rim style. As for the width, we went 2 notches up on the front and on the rear, which makes it a 17-inch wheel. Alright, moving on to drivetrain. Of course, it is a race clutch. It is a race transmission. We have the race driveline. We have the race differential. Then we move on to platform and handling, race brakes. We have the race springs and dampers, race anti-roll bars on the front, race anti-roll bars on the rear. I did put a full roll cage in this just because I felt like it. And then for the weight reduction, it's full weight reduction. Moving on to the engine, we have a race air filter. We have a stock fuel system. We have a stock ignition. We have a race exhaust. We have stock camshaft. We have stock valves. We have stock displacement. We have stock pistons and compression. We have the sport supercharger. We have the street intercooler. We have stock oil and cooling. And our flywheel is stock. So those are all the components that you need. Once you put those on, you'll be at B600. And let's move over to the tune. Alright, for our tire pressure, we have 28.5 front, 28.5 in the rear. Here's our gearing setup. This is set up for more speed than acceleration. And it's 2.77 on the final drive. Then we have 3.95 for first gear. We have 2.71 for second gear. 2.06 for third gear. 1.66 for fourth gear, 1.40 for fifth gear, and 1.20 for sixth gear. Our alignment is negative 1.6 on the front for camber. We have negative 1 on the rear. Our toe is 0 and 0, and our front caster angle is 5.7. Moving on to anti-roll bars. I like to call them ARBs. In the front, 14.76, and the rear is 10.6. Springs in the front is 420. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. 420, dude. The rear is 380.1. Ride height is at the lowest on each front and rear, which makes it 7.4 inches in the front, 8.3 in the rear. For our rebound in the front, it's 6.1. In the rear, it's 4.9. And in the front for the bump, it's 3.8, and the rear is 3.0. Moving on to the downforce, I have it max in the front and all the way off in the rear. And what this does is puts all the weight on the front to help the turn in. And it seems to cut some of the some of the understeer out. For our braking force, I always go with 47, 48%, somewhere around there. And I'm at 150% for the pressure on this. I could back that down to 140. But again, this is a personal preference thing. I started using this setup because of a YouTuber named Craviator. He does tunes and builds, and they're always really good. And I just started using this and realized that it really feels good for the way I drive. And I'm using a controller, not a wheel, so it kind of helps. For the diff in this car, acceleration is at 100% and the deceleration is at 0. I played around with this. I couldn't really tell a huge difference, but this setting seems to be the most optimal. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the car on track, and I think what we're going to see here is that it looks really good, and that's really about it. This car has a really good grip when you're up to speed, or when you're second to third to fourth gear. It has some really good grip, really good turn in. The problem with this car is I think there's too much power going to the front wheels, and because it's a front wheel drive car, the front wheels just spin. And I mean, you really have to watch your gas pedal, your acceleration. You cannot mash on the acceleration coming out of a turn, or those front wheels are just going to spin. And I mean, I'm not using traction control, and I really have a hard time with wheel spin in this car. It is really annoying, and that's why this car is probably 2 seconds off of my fastest time on Catalunya, which is the main track that I tune all my cars on, because it has a little bit of everything, a little bit of speed, high speed corners, sharp corners, straightaway, some S's. It has a little bit of every driving condition and racing condition, but this this car is about 2 seconds off of my fastest lap time for a B class at Catalunya, and it doesn't compare with my other builds in B class. And that's it. So it's fun to look at, you know. Sounds kind of neat when you're driving around, but it's definitely, there are better options if you're going to take a B class into the lobbies, or to do time attacks, or in the rivals section if you're going to do any of those kind of racing events. I'm not sure I'm picking this car. So anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like it, then please leave a like. If you want more of this content, then subscribe. Let me know what cars you want to see from the 1990s, and I'll see if I can get those done. For right now, I have about 20 to 25 cars. 1990s Sportscar Icons is the class that we're doing, and this is my third build video in this series. I'm just getting started here, so let me know what you think in the comments, and I will have another video for you shortly. So thanks a lot for watching, and hope you're having a wonderful day.